scrub nurse, as we're all used to, and they'll take this, okay? They'll take this as standard. All right, we'll pass this out. This first sheet here does have a couple of instructions on it, so again, if you're new to it, or if you haven't done it in a while, or it's an emergency list and you're kind of saying, what the f did that fella say as part of the training? Most of it is covered here in the little diagrams, okay? So feel free to just cross-check or whatever, but in general, if you're used to it, you'll just hand that out, okay? Okay, so what we don't want to do is rush into opening this up as much as possible, like your old drapes. You want to kind of keep it nice and controlled, okay? So what I generally do is I just fold it out like that, because it'll be folded up. So I just fold it out, and I know that I'm looking for this side up, okay? That's my first kind of reference point, okay? So that's telling me this side up, okay, so I know it's this side, that's telling me arrow away from me, because I can read the writing, okay? So this side up, okay. Next thing I want to do is, again, gently, but just kind of fold it out, spread it out on my tray or my table. My first landmark are my elastic bands. We're going to rip them off, okay? We're going to keep them for later. We're going to pop them over our wrist. So that's our first thing. Now we're going to go in and kind of grab it, but this side up, okay? So you know that ultimately it's not this way, okay? So it's this side up, the arrow facing away, elastic bands, keep them for later on. You may need them, you may not, but just to keep them. I've come in since and I've seen that these are kind of still hanging on the drape up here, okay, sometimes. So just grab them, pop them off, and we'll use them for the eyepieces. Everyone's smiling as well. We're all guilty of it. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. Okay, so now what we're going to do at each end, if I was to fold this out fully, we don't have a large enough tray, but again, this is something you'll get used to. There are little hand symbols, hand stickers. Can everyone see that? Okay, there are little hand stickers there. Okay, they're on both ends, and there's a left and a right. The diagrams will show you which is which. So again, this side up, facing away, naturally this would be my left, but this is giving me a little left hand symbol. Okay, left hand symbol. We're going to give that, I always say, a high five. See, what do we say? Do I go in above, below? Give it a high five. Okay, go in above. Okay, above the sticker into the drape. Okay, similarly down here on this side. That's, oh yeah, right hand because of the tongue. Perfect. High five in above the sticker. Okay, now there's two kind of ways to do it, and what I found in Beaumont is most people lead with the lens. Okay, over time we'll fish in, we'll grab the lens, and then we'll keep it nice and tight and we'll approach the microscope. Is that okay? So that's what we're going to do. So in above the microscope here, or above the handpiece, sorry, or the sticker. Now from here, I'm taller, but we're going to kind of fish out. I know this is messy, but this is the reality of it. We're going to fish out our lens, okay? And this is kind of what we want to lead with as we approach the microscope, okay? So I've got that. Now conscious that we want to keep this kind of compact as well, and people who are good at this kind of, at this stage, okay, I have my lens, but I'm kind of grabbing up the microscope as well, that it's not massive as it might hit the floor for whatever reason, okay? So again, excuse me now. So thank you very much. I'm leading with my lens. I know my arms are in the right places. And again, another thing to be conscious of is your own height, okay? I'm kind of leading with this so that I don't hit the floor, but you might need this lower. You might need a step, for example, because the last thing we want is this to drag and hit the floor for whatever it is. Okay, so I have my lens. I know I'm in a relatively right position. This will only go on one way. There's two little magnets on the end of this lens cover, okay? So the rule is always approach from the main surgeon side, okay? From the main handpieces, the main eyepiece, the main surgeon side, okay? What can happen, again, if you're prepping over here and in a rush and you're kind of, I want to get this on, and you're kind of stabbing at it and it's just not biting, it's just not catching. So there's only two magnets which will line up. So I approach it here over the lens, okay? From there, don't do this now, but that's just hooked on magnetically, okay? So from here, what I always say is we want to do this, give it a nice big hug, okay? So we kind of open up. Let me know if I'm doing anything wrong. And believe me, I'm definitely not a scrub nurse, so you guys are probably better at this than I am, but we want to get it to this little junction there, okay? I'm sterile, I'm a sterile scrub nurse. We want to get it to here, up and over that kind of lip there, we'll catch on. From here, our circulating nurse can help us, okay? Our circulating nurse can maybe grab it from the inside and pull it back, while our sterile scrub nurse is maybe prepping it down here and doing all those kind of things. I'm going to show you both. So, we're pulling it back down the microscope. And again, I'm now non-sterile, I'm the circulating nurse, whatever, but I'm helping. And it's more or less going to sit something like that to start, okay? Now, each Zeiss Smart Drape, as your old one, will come with 3 of the eyepieces, okay? So we have face-to-face, and we have the one on the side. That side arm, I've about 5 minutes left, sorry guys, so stick with me. All right, this side arm is over on the left, so I know I'm gonna have to kind of bring this over to fit over here. Does that make sense? Okay, what we don't want to do is rush in, putting these eyepieces on the main surgeons and then we're saying, oh feck, I have to get these ones as well, you know? So again, and this will happen, you may need to kind of rotate it a little bit just to get these eyepieces on. I would try and get into the habit of just draping all 3 eyepieces, okay? Just as a rule of thumb, in general they only ever need 2, but as you're getting prepped or whatever, try and just drape all 3. So, we're going to do that nice and quickly. I know people are keen to go, but again, this is all just very lifelike. We're just forcing this in now as much as we can, obviously being as gentle as possible. Velcros at the eyepieces, and we're just going to strap them on. The key to this is, and as you all know, it's not anything new, but we're trying to get these down as close to the body of the microscope as possible. If we kind of tighten them there, the eyepiece, surgeon comes along to perforate the eyepiece, it'll all come off and it'll all be loose. So we want to push them down as far as they'll go and tighten there. Is that okay? First one done. Now, I'm moving around. Here we go. Next one. Main surgeon eyepiece. Same again. Same process. Push it down as far into the microscope as possible. Same again. And yeah, sorry now you have to watch me do this, but this is just important. And tighten there. Same again. Last one. So again, we're avoiding too much tightness at all times, okay? So we're trying to get it as loose as possible. You might need to bring a bit more drape down here, get me around here. Now, so, perfect. In we go, eventually. Okay, I'm doing the third eyepiece, right? So just pretend that I've done the third eyepiece on this side. Any questions at this stage? Anyone want to share any experiences of good or bad, you know, draping or anything like that? Any of the neuro staff? No?
So
Everything okay?
normally, Brian,
Yeah.
only if it's a craniotomy,
Yeah.
we only do the main piece of that.
And the side.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I would say,
Face for the lumbar, because
Exactly.
if the surgeon finds it too tight.
yes,
they're
fair
moving
point.
the microscope.
And again, you would go into, I would go into Temple Street where they have a Kenovo and they just do all 3 eyepieces as standard. So the neuro staff, as you know, Nora, will know this a little bit better, so they'll know the flow. But if you're new to it and if it's emergent, just do all 3 or whatever, okay? No big deal. So now I've moved it around, I've manipulated it. Now we're going to tighten the traditional tabs. You'll see in a few months, Zeiss are going to bring out a new version of this without the first 2 blue tabs, because you don't need them because of the feature I'm going to show you. But now we're going to tighten these like you would a traditional drape. So the key to these 2 tabs, the first 2, 1 and 2 I call, is that you don't over tighten. Okay, so we're literally just gathering up a little bit of excess drape, but the key is really not to squeeze the life out of this here, okay? Just very loosely, very gently, because we may need to take them off again in a moment. Second one, first 2 down the microscope. And again, I'm just going up here now. Bear in mind I'm sterile this whole time, okay? What I can do now with my elastic bands is I can, oh, that was not, so we can't use that one. But these might go over the eyepieces, there for example. They might go over the handles, for example. Again, avoiding too much tightness, so bringing in a bit of drape to help yourself out. Or they might go over the assistant's eyepieces, something like that. So that's where you can use them, okay? Next, we're going up to our third tab. So this is up here. And again, bear your own height in mind here. But what we want to do is, these will pull off. These will pull off. And we're just gathering up excess drape, okay? Now, from here, so we've gone loose, loose. The first kind of 2 or 3 are generally loose, okay? Now, the last one, which sometimes happens by the scrub nurse, sometimes happens by the surgeon. Generally, I would say leave it to your scrub nurse, okay? This one is where we want tightness, okay? Because this is where we create the suction to pull in any excess drape, which I'll show you. So the tab that you have in the body of the microscope, we want this to be nice and tight. Okay, that makes sense?
Yeah.
So we generally loose, because we want a bit of flexibility down here with movement and stuff like that. But this one is where we create the seal. Now, last one, which is white, you'll see it here, okay? That's for your circulating nurse. And that will come with an RFID code, okay? Every drape will come with one of these, okay? And I'll show you what that does in a second. But what we do here is we just kind of clean the rest of this drape up right down to this point, into the arm. Okay? Something like that. Won't always be perfect. Might need to tape it, clip it, whatever you need to do. But in general, it'll look something like this. Am I right? Okay. This fella here is specific to Zeiss. This basically tells the machine that, yep, this is a new drape. We're good to go. Okay, so every one of the drapes in each packet will come with one of these little tabs. To show you where it goes, I don't want any brakes on. Excuse me now. There's a little RFID square just under the power button, okay? And that will click on. There's a little sticker on the back. You just kind of push it on. Now, you should hear that little ding. Happy days. So now the system is able to recognize, okay, we have a new drape. I'm going to allow a feature of auto drape, which is new. Where's my screen? Again, how to find this arrow, very, very good to us. If in doubt, click the arrow. Okay, now we have a feature here that says auto drape and there's a little toggle to turn it on. That wasn't there before that beep, okay? So you won't have the option to auto drape if you don't have that sticker on and stuff like that. So we're going to activate that. You'll hear the suction, and ultimately after about 60 seconds, it's going to pull in any excess drape and keep it nice and tight so there's no kind of excess plastic hanging down. What you can do if you're the scrub nurse, just make sure that kind of everything is visible, that we're not covering eyepieces, everything looks okay. We want to keep, this is why we kept these loose. Over time, you'll see it just pull in and suck in nice and tight to the microscope. Okay, any questions?
Where was this? Sorry.
Yeah, no
was
problem.
that? Is it at the end?
It was on the white tab. So you'll
Okay.
see on this tab, just at the very end, it was
So-
kind of part of
So
the.
very important not to lose that, yeah.
Yes, yes. Now, if you forget, again, we're in a rush, if you forget, you still have your traditional ties to kind of get all the excess. So if, for whatever reason, sometimes it won't register, for example, or whatever reason it won't work, don't worry. You still have your 4 ties, like your old microscope, to get rid of any excess plastic, okay? But that's where it
Without
goes.
the sticker,
It
you
will
won't
still
be
work.
able to use this feature.
And without the sticker, you won't have the suction effect.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you can still use the drape is still fine, but just maybe tighten them a little bit more and stuff like that.
Okay.
Is that okay?
How long it takes to suck?
Generally about 60 seconds. You'll hear this kind of go down to a lower suction level, and that's just kind of maintenance. Okay, last thing. As I said, generally you'll drape the microscope and they probably won't use it for the first, as they open, for the first 30, 45 minutes. And again, what you can do here is just give it a little test. Make sure that when you hand it to the surgeon that they can kind of go each direction. You might want to, okay, maybe retighten these or loosen these if you want it, no problem. But that's generally it. What the guys do then is they'll cover this to keep it sterile with one of your blue covers. So they'll come at it from this side with your clips and keep it nice and sterile, which you did in 11 yesterday. Yeah. So covering it to keep it sterile. And I always ask, know where these handles are, because otherwise it's going to be covered by the cover. So knowing where they are, make it nice and small. You don't want it massive and in the way while the start of the operation is happening. And then that's more or less it. So today, this morning, we've gone through an introduction to the microscope, how to move it, and where to handle it. We've talked about where to position it in your theatre, asking the surgeon where they want the base of the microscope. We've shown and demonstrated how to move the side arm from one side to the other, depending on where the assistant is going to be. We've talked about the position for draping, and then we've demonstrated draping. Okay, they're more or less the basics. That's all the nursing staff have to do to hand it to the surgical team. Okay, as I said, there is more to it. Settings, they'll ask you to troubleshoot, they'll ask you to take photos or videos. Don't worry about it. They're all getting used to it at this stage. But in the meantime, for emergencies, over the weekend, stuff like that, this morning is more or less all you need to know. Okay. Sorry. Drip. Perfect student. Jesus. What? Here, I'll pay you the money later. Okay, so Rad's been reminded the feature that I showed you all, which I'm forgetting now to show you, is the drape balance. Okay, last thing you do. Very good. So again, we're after adding extra weight now to the microscope. All we do, again, so I'll show you from the start. I'll show you in a second. I'll show this side first. So this is search. We'll click an arrow. We'll click drape balance. Again, it tells you not to do it over the patient for whatever reason. We click start, and it'll tell you it's done within about 5 seconds. Okay, done
Which
successfully.
button again did you press to suck all the air out? Which one?
Sorry, the auto drape is just
The
here.
one at the bottom. Okay.
Yeah, do you see it here?
And then the balance is for the one
Up
at
the
the
top.
top.
Okay, so on this side, again, we have, so that'll be your screen or whatever. That'll generally be your screen that you'll see. Okay, we have the arrow and we have drape auto balance. Click start. Now, the difference is this one doesn't move, it doesn't do the dance that you saw on the system balance, but all it's doing, it'll tell you it's done successfully there. All it's doing is it's just taking into account the weight of that drape. No big deal, okay? Not a massive deal, okay? But the surgeons will
The surgeon will just
they will
notice.
say to you, this is a balance, and you know you've done a balance, and you know you've done a lot right.
You have to do it twice.
Yes, so you do the system. Now you don't always have to do the system balance, bear in mind. You don't always have to do the big one. So say for two craniotomies when they're all the same side, that won't move. So you won't have to do that balance. But for the drape, always do the drape balance, okay? Because what will happen, as I said, is your surgeon will say, oh, this isn't balanced. Come on, it's not balanced, sorted. So maybe you might say, oh, I didn't do just pick the drape balance and generally just reassure them that you have balanced it and it is balanced, but we'll have a look at it after this case.